If we can't open up markets to the United States, we may have to destroy part of our potato crop. And that would be tragic. Nobody wants that. But here we are. Over 140,000 tons of Canadian potatoes have quietly stopped arriving in the US in just 4 months. No press releases, no headlines. They just vanished. Why? Because on April 2nd, Washington slapped a 35% tariff on Canadian potatoes. Brilliant. That $22 bag of fries? Now it's $30. A plate that once cost $3.50 is now $5.25. And while Americans are paying more for soggy fries, Canada's Prime Minister didn't even argue. He flew to Asia, shook hands, and signed a $1.6 billion trade deal without looking back. Warehouses are sitting empty. Farmers are scaling down. Diners are shrinking their portions. But here's the truth. The potatoes weren't banned. They simply left. Quietly. Because when you slap your best trading partner with a huge tax and call it strategy, don't be shocked when even the potatoes say, "No thanks." Before everything fell apart, this was one of the most stable trade relationships in North America. In 2024 alone, Canada shipped roughly 350,000 metric tons of potatoes to the US. That's enough to feed 17 million American households, especially in the northern states, where winters outlast political campaigns. This wasn't just trade. It was a ritual. Minnesota diners depended on PEI potatoes, the way Capitol Hill depends on lobbyists' coffee. For decades, the potato pipeline from Canada to the US was as dependable as Tuesday Night Football. Then came the art of the tariff. Just like that, the guy in the White House decided taxing America's closest farming ally was a power play. No tweets, no press conference. Just a 35% tariff slapped on potatoes like they were security threats. According to Agriculture Canada's July 2025 report, the result was a 41% collapse in Canadian potato exports to the US by the second quarter, a drop-off we haven't seen since the 1980s. This wasn't a public breakup. It was worse. It was ghosting, with a tax form. When you tax potatoes like they're luxury handbags, something's going to break. The US imposed that 35% import tariff on Canadian potatoes. Fresh, frozen, seed, everything. The official reason? Trade fairness. The actual result? Higher prices, empty shelves, and limp fries from Idaho. Let's do the math. A 25-ton shipment of frozen fries that used to cost $32,000 now comes with an $11,200 surcharge. That's a 35% increase on one of the most consumed foods in America. Fries are more common than broccoli or common sense. According to the USDA's July 2025 Food Pricing Index, a standard serving of fries jumped from $3.50 to $5.25 in just 3 months. That's not inflation. That's sabotaging ketchup. So now restaurants are ditching premium PEI potatoes and switching to lower quality US varieties. Spoiler alert, they don't fry the same. Customers are complaining about limp texture, uneven color, and that chemical aftertaste that screams, "Freedom fries." Meanwhile, small diners are quietly shrinking portions and rewriting menus. They can't pass the full cost on to customers without losing them. But here's the real kicker. There was no warning, no call, no talks, just a one-sided tariff wall. And when Washington builds economic walls without notice, don't be surprised when your neighbors start using the side door. Because in this version of America First, even the potatoes are reconsidering their visa. When one side builds tariff walls, the other doesn't always fire back. Sometimes they just walk away and take their crops with them. Canadian processors like McCain and Cavendish, who used to ship thousands of containers of frozen fries to the US every month, have quietly pulled back. No announcements, just fewer trucks, shorter contracts, cold storage units standing empty in Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Alberta. According to Statistics Canada's July 2025 farm update, some mid-sized farms reduced their planting by 15 to 25% this season. Not because of drought, not because of disease, but because their largest customer, America, ghosted them. And on this side of the border, things aren't looking better. With costs rising fast, U.S. importers are shifting to domestic suppliers, despite logistical issues and lower consistency. USDA's July 2025 Agricultural Outlook says restaurants in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan are reporting a 10 to 18% drop in satisfaction with potato products, mostly due to uneven frying and shorter shelf life. One regular at a diner in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, said it best. "I paid $5 for fries that taste like wet cardboard. I used to come twice a week. Now I bring my lunch." And he's not alone. Across the Midwest, fast food joints are losing customers, not because of calories or carbs, but because the fries just aren't the same. "We didn't change suppliers by choice," said a franchise owner in Duluth. "We changed because our Canadian truck stopped showing up. Customers noticed, and they stopped coming." Big chains like McDonald's and Wendy's can make bulk deals, but smaller diners and cafeterias are feeling the pain. One restaurant owner in Fargo told the Minneapolis Star, "We used to serve 3 plates of fries for $10. Now we can barely offer 1.5. Our margins didn't shrink, they disappeared." The ripple effect is real, from idle tractors in PEI to teenagers apologizing at drive-thrus. This isn't just about potatoes. It's about how one decision in a quiet DC office can jam up the entire food chain on both sides of the border. While Washington picked up the tariff hammer, Ottawa picked up a calculator and a map. Instead of launching a public counterattack, Canada calmly restructured its potato industry. Processors redirected supply to the domestic market. Farms downsized exports, switched to 5-kilogram retail packaging, and started selling directly to grocery stores and co-ops. According to Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada's July 2025 Food System Review, Canadian retail potato prices stayed stable, between $4.50 and $4.99 per bag, avoiding the price shock hitting U.S. meat and grains. Even more quietly, Canada sent its surplus to food banks and community kitchens. In New Brunswick and Manitoba, subsidies helped push more than 12,000 tons of excess crop into low-income food programs in Q2 alone, according to Food Banks Canada's July 2025 report. For the average Canadian family, saving just $5 a week on local potatoes means more room for essentials: milk, eggs, bread. That's not a minor thing. That's dinner. And all of this was done without drama. No threats, no grandstanding. Just practical action. No need to bully your neighbor to earn respect. Because when your biggest customer taxes your goods like poison, the smart move isn't begging to come back. It's finding better customers. That's exactly what Canada is doing. Since late 2024, Ottawa has been quietly building new agricultural trade routes beyond its high-maintenance neighbor. Global Affairs. Canada's July 2025 trade brief shows a $1.6 billion agri-deal was signed this spring with Japan, South Korea, and Indonesia, focused on processed potatoes and high-end frozen goods. The results? They're real. PEI exported $8 million worth of fresh potatoes to Indonesia in 2024, and shipments are climbing. Thailand has become Canada's biggest non-US importer, buying over $4 million in fresh and seed potatoes. Meanwhile, Caribbean countries like Trinidad and Panama each imported over $13 million. These aren't just one-time sales. They're building a new model. In Charlottetown, one freezing facility signed a major deal with a Japanese distributor, added a processing line, created 45 full-time jobs, and increased purchases of local potatoes by 15%. Including grade 2 ugly potatoes that used to be fed to livestock. The goal here isn't revenge, it's resilience. Because Canada learned something from this tariff stunt. If your survival depends on a market that throws a tantrum every election season, you're not running a business. You're stuck in hostage negotiations. So where does that leave us? Canada walked away quietly. No press conferences, no public feuds. Just a silent pivot. From dependency to independence. Because when a nation realizes its future is being held hostage by policies written for polls instead of people, the smartest move isn't retaliation, it's reinvention. They didn't burn bridges, they built new ones. They didn't slam the door. They found another key. And that's the lesson for all of us. In business, in trade, in trust. A single tariff may not make headlines tomorrow, but its consequences will echo through empty shelves, lost jobs, and cold dinners for years. So the next time we see a plate of limp, overpriced fries and wonder what happened, remember, this wasn't about potatoes. It was about priorities. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is this the future of global trade? Quiet exits, no second chances? And if you found value in this story, real value, not just headlines, hit that subscribe button and join Traveling Vibes as we continue to follow the stories no one else is telling. Until next time, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and always follow the fries.